Hey guys, Steeple here. Today we got to look at the Gearing Legendary Tier American Destroyer. Want to wish everyone a happy new year. Thank you all for the amazing support of this channel this year. We've had a lot of success and growth, and that's due to you guys. So that aspect of 2020 for me was actually quite nice. So I appreciate everyone for supporting the channel as you have been. We are continuing to pursue the 15,000 subscriber mark, getting pretty close. Giveaways on the docket: tier 4s, tier 5s, tier 6 premium ships, plus bonus prizes on top of that. So subscribe if you're not interested. 44% of you guys that watch the videos are not subscribed. So if you feel like subscribing today, then I would appreciate that quite a bit, and we'll get on to those giveaways as soon as that happens. Legendary tier ship Gearing. What do we got here? Mordoff, by the way, if you don't have him, I'd slap in Halsey. Same exact build. Slot 4, just go with the one that enhances the smoke duration. I used Halsey for darn near 2 years, but we just got Mordoff up and running, so we've been testing him. Quicker reload. So we shave off, I don't know, 0.1, 2, 3 seconds, whatever it is. Gearing, main difference between the Fletcher and the Gearing is main battery range. You guessed it. The Fletcher, 11 kilometers. Gearing, only 10.7 on this build. No, the torpedoes. We got 16.5 kilometer torpedoes on this puppy. And by the way, they go 66 knots in the water. Both significantly longer than what you normally see on the Americans. Reaction time on these puppies, by the way, on my build, 7 seconds. Compare that to the Shima, 7.7 seconds. So, and same reaction time on those torps Fletcher. So very effective torps. Look to get into flanking positions where you kind of go wide and then send those torpedoes in like a diagonal pattern towards ships that think they're behind islands. We're not going to see that necessarily in this game, but it's a very effective tactic. I've been having a lot of success. So just kind of go wide, look for those cruisers that are parked behind islands and shoot diagonally into them. They'll never see it coming. Other than that, Gearing, you got an extra gun. We got 3x2 turrets on this one compared to 5x1 on the Fletcher. Similar damage and all that. I don't have camo on this. I only got, 5.7 kilometer detection on this ship. So anyway, I'm going to jump into this game here. We got Sleeping Giant. You saw there the Adachi was spotted. We went ahead and took a little bit of a gamble. Since we knew we were going to be detected, whittled him down significantly. But we got a pair of Alaskas, one in front of us there on the screen, one to the northwest. Both of them took shots, took a chunk out of us, immediately deployed the smoke, and kind of got, in position where if these guys pop the radar, we can quickly disengage. You can see if we go forward, i.e. to the right of the screen there, we can cut that Alaska off that we're kind of trying to deal with there by keeping the island in between us and them. Enemy Gearing pops up here. Now you can see he's shooting at the ship closest to him. We're going to go ahead and pile on these shots as quick as possible here. Try and get rid of that enemy Gearing. That would be a nice start. We've wounded the Udachi, limited his playmaking ability, and now the Gearing we're just trying to pile on. Again, we're sacrificing a little bit of health. And how I want you guys to start conceptualizing your HP is thus. Playmaking currency. The more health you got, the more options you have in terms of what plays you can make. That Udachi back there, if he's really low on health, he's got 2, 3, 4,000 health. His playbook is limited. He cannot get spotted safely. He can't do any sort of suicide torpedo rush, which might be the only torpedo rush he knows. We never know. But we remove options from people's playbooks, at least what they can do safely. They can always sacrifice their ship trying to do something, but the more HP you have, the more currency you kind of have to make plays. So effectively, if you want to evaluate that first set of plays there, we traded about 8,000 of our health to kill a Gearing and critically wound a Udachi. We'll take that trade all day long. Got to be careful here, peppering this Alaska. He probably has a radar. Not really sure why he didn't deploy it there. Perhaps he burned it early on, trying to deal with a destroyer in a different position. You can see the other destroyer looks like he probably attacked C and then got driven off, so maybe the guy spent his radar. But we're trying to utilize this smoke as long as it's available, as cautiously as possible. Again, the radar cruisers, existential threat. You always got to be critically aware whenever you're in the radar range. But we're keeping an eye on him. We're trying to use the smoke, though. As long as it's available, we can kind of fire from cover, trying to start fires on this Grover. You can see we got a torpedo salvo incoming on him. If we can burn him, get him to use his damage con, and then have the torpedo strike by the time the cooldown hits, then he's got a permanent flood, and that's often lights out. Looks like he might have already burned that, though, because look at the damage on the top right-hand side of the screen. You ever curious, did my torpedo that caused the flood, did he heal, or did he use the damage control party on that or not? Take a look at the top right screen there. The damage ticks up, in between the shots, and we knew we had a fire, we had a flood, and we finished him off. Took a little bit of damage there from his secondaries, but calculated risk. We wanted to get rid of that ship before he could really do any more damage. 2 kills in, we got just shy of 70k damage, and the game's off to not a bad start. We got someone attempting to capture B. They haven't yet captured C, but they kind of control it. You can see they have ships positioned adjacent to it, and we don't really have anyone that can challenge that. So we can consider C a lost cause at this point in time, and now they do have ships moving in on A. So assuming we can capture B, we're going to be down 2-1. If we fail that, we're going to be down 2-0 in terms of caps. And I actually got a guy at one point in time in this game who signals, good job, like it's over. Never, never, never adopt that mentality, even if you go up a ship or two, if the enemy team has the caps. Because all they have to do is kill 1 or 2 ships, and then boom, they're up big. So unfortunately here, we got a little bit trapped. I was thinking I probably had a little bit more room to maneuver, but as I checked the map, that Grover was crossing right over our blue detection line. So we had to gun it. Pop the speed boost here. We're trying to get away from these secondaries. That is dangerous. Those secondaries on the Bismarck, the Grover, ships like that, they can tear destroyers to shreds. So we're trying to get around this island as quickly as possible, see if we can stay alive, catch him on the chin with a couple of torpedoes there, and looks like that flood sticks. You can see the damage continues to tick up there. So we're trying to bail out here. Disengage is the order of business at hand. We need to stay alive if possible. Luckily, our friendly support destroyer, I believe it's another Gearing actually, popped him with some more follow-up torpedoes and took him out of the game. And now we are, again, we're looking pretty good in terms of ship counts. We're up a ship, but we didn't get B, and now they have A and C. So that's what we're talking about. We're down 2 caps, and you don't want to be getting comfortable in these situations. This is very easy to lose this game. In fact, I'm at this point in time trying to think, how can we win this? It's not looking good. You can see the red team largely controls the equator of the map, and we largely control the southern hemisphere. But down south, there's no caps, and in the middle, there's 3 caps. So controlling the middle, much more profitable. Try to spray that Alaska with a couple shots there. We want to whittle him down. Azuma's coming around the bend here, and we're going to chime in with these guns, try and support these guys. Because when we're down in caps, we got to be moving with, some enthusiasm here. We got to be making these plays as quickly as possible. Eliminate as many ships as we can. That's going to allow us to get on those caps, even up the income sources for points. Because we don't, if we concede caps and we never bother to get caps, then we're forced to kill everyone on the enemy team. Sometimes you can do that in domination mode, but a lot of times you can't, especially if you let the cap situation get out of control. Those points will tick up a lot faster than you might be thinking, and it basically boxes yourself into a corner. Your team throws up their hands and say, okay, we only have one option to win instead of 2. We got to sink the entire enemy team, and I'm not relying on my random teammates. I don't know about you guys, but I never want to trust them to necessarily win by killing everyone on the enemy team. Torpedoes coming in at that Yamato to our side there. We go ahead and shoot, not really concerned if the Udachi spots me or not, trying to get the Alaska damage. But now, this is kind of one of those plays where this guy did not need to be chiming in with those guns, but he did. He elected to, took a risk, and, well, let's see if it pays off for him. It's, spoiler alert, it's not going to pay off. We got him there. So that's one of those calculated risks, and it goes back to that HP, that currency. He didn't really have enough currency to make that play. He didn't really need to be taking that risk either. So he kind of cashed in his chips, but he came up short, and it cost him. Alaska, very low. He's making some evasive maneuvers. Hard to spot him. We're trying to keep an eye on the map, see what he's doing. We're zooming in and out, letting the auto aim kind of suggest roughly where he's going, and making adjustments based on the information that's available. We can't contest A as long as that guy's there. Radar goes off. I'm assuming that's the guy in the cap. And there's the Kraken. But you see the radar did drop off, but we do have another Alaska here, so I was a little worried that perhaps this guy had the active radar. Nonetheless, we torp that gap in case he's trying to disengage. You can see he's fighting someone to his south, but it's a possibility that he's going to want to bail from that, and going through that gap right there, strong play. Kind of like we zoned that gap earlier, and that's when that Grober came through and we caught him with one. He wasn't really in position. We didn't have an aim indicator on that grosser curve first earlier, suggesting where to aim, but we just kind of are torping these gaps, eliminating options. That guy can no longer disengage through that channel safely. If he does, he's in trouble. Switch over to AP. We got a broadside cruiser. Broadside battleships, broadside cruisers, go ahead and switch to that AP. You're going to be surprised with the results a lot of times. If you're not getting good damage, then go ahead and switch back to the HE. But you can see here, pummeling him, and that is withering. If we're firing shots every 2.6 seconds and he's taking that 1500K or whatever per salvo, that's a problem. So that's going to do it right there. We ended up with 5 kills, I believe, but pretty good look at the gearing, I thought. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If you did, please hit the thumbs up. New to the channel, consider subscribing. Lots of World of Warships coming all the time. Questions, comments, leave below. Love to hear from you guys, and we'll see y'all later. Have a good New Year's. Peace.